Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich. Count that money, man. Now wipe the crust out of your eyes. Get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. GMGP. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. It's your boy Ray G. It is Wednesday, May the 10th, 2023. And y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Ray G. For that, y'all know I appreciate y'all being in the building. Roger Miles, what's happening with you? Marlon in the building. Ro, blessed to be here. Good morning, everyone. Jesse Kerr in the building. My girl, Lindsay Mack. What's going on with you? Dynasty Barry, Ty DeClaire, Adam in the building. James, Matt Bruning, Patrick Price, Joe. She said GMGP with the eye emoji. What's happening with y'all? Excited to talk to y'all today. For this Wednesday episode, we will be talking through a 4-round rookie mock. I was looking at the comments, Jay. People said, why the hell have we not done a rookie mock yet? And I was like, you know what? It's a good question. I didn't have an answer for it, so we needed to do it today. So excited to talk through that with y'all and what a 4-round SUPERFLEX rookie mock should look like. And I use air quotes when I say should because they're all crazy as hell across the landscape right now. Jay Rich, how you doing this morning, baby?
I'm surprised.
Where am I at?
Where am I at? No, I'm happy to do this show. You know, the people ask for it. Usually we don't bend the knee to the people. But, you know, we went back, we thought about it, and we're like, you're right. You know, we talked about these rookies a lot, but we never really took the time to walk everyone through our process, right? How we would approach a rookie draft, where we would make trades, the players we're targeting and why. And, you know, we've given all the analysis about all the players, but now it's time to really put that info down on a place where they can just look at it. How do I approach my draft? How do I attack it? How would Ray G do it? How would Jay Rich do it? And lay that out for the people today. So I'm excited. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
I want to get through 4 rounds. I want to get through 4, so we got to get
That'll be fun. You know, we'll be shooting darts and late in the draft, but I'm excited. Maybe I can draft Stetson Bennett in this one. Let's go.
Shooting darts early in the draft, but real quick, Jay, had a little bit of news pre-show a couple of minutes ago. Freaking Adam Schefter out here dropping bombs, man. Some schedule release, man. What do we have right here, Jay? What a treat.
Ray, you've been asking for it, right? You're like, oh, Jay Rich, we're doing the underdog stuff with the best ball. We got to find the best stack. Here it is. Chiefs-Bengals, Week 17. Again, Ray, get your Bengals in your best ball drafts because they are the... This is the stack. This is the game.
This is a great segue. This is a great segue, Jay Rich. Hey, let's get us off the screen. What a segue. Underdog Fantasy, man. They rock with Destination Debbie. We rock with them. So use that promo code WAKEUP and enter the biggest fantasy football contest ever. BBM4, $15 million in total prizes, $3 million if you win the damn thing. And we got a lot of tools, Jay. I was texting you last night telling you to fix our sheets to incorporate these schedule releases, in particular Week 17. And then, my God, we get the freaking Chiefs and Bengals in Week 17. Like, really,
won't be a better game than this, right? This will be, of all the stack rankings, this will be number one. Like, I can't imagine there'd be a game that would do better than this, right? We had Bills and Bengals last year. This year, we got Bengals Chiefs. It'll be fun. It's in Kansas City though, so again, we'll see how that game plays out. But if you want your Chiefs, you want your Bengals, and we'll see once the actual schedule comes out. We haven't obviously seen the full thing, but New Year's Eve, Chiefs, Bengals in Kansas City? Sign me up. Sign me up for that. Crazy, that'll be so fun.
And I'm just thinking through underdog right now. There's no way to get Mahomes Burrow. Like, you don't want it either. You kind of don't want it either because you kind of do
want it.
Only
want to play.
Yeah, well, no, it's not super flex. I'm thinking super flex, but single quarterback. What a game to stack. You want those Chiefs, you want those Bengals. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. What else do we have here? We got Jaguars. What is this? The first team First NFL team to play back-to-back games in London. So
they're playing back-to-back in London?
They're playing back-to-back. So they got the Falcons in week 4 and then Bills in week 5 in London for the Jaguars. So, yeah, and they're already...
I wonder if that'd be an advantage for them this year.
They're already
not having to do the travel.
Look at this horrible Photoshop job of Bijan in this jersey. It's just terrible. This is awful. But, yeah, man, this is...
You're going to get an intern at ESPN fired over that. Damn.
Look at this. All right, let's see. Week 4, Falcons, Jags, Bills, Ravens, Titans, Dolphins, Chiefs, and Frankfurt, and then Colts, Patriots also. So a lot of international games.
Dolphins, Chiefs in Frankfurt should be a pretty good game, assuming Tua's healthy, playing well, right? That should be a pretty good one. Chiefs, man, they have a tough schedule this year. Tough schedule.
Those
because they play the Eagles too.
The Jags love London, man. We're gonna get them out of Jacksonville and get them to get them to London. And then we talked about the Ravens and Ravens Titans. Will Levis versus Lamar Jackson in London. Let's go. All right, Jay. All right, enough of the schedule stuff. We'll talk through schedule release on Bleacher Report. I got
tomorrow.
Do one. Yeah. I got one tomorrow. Is yours tomorrow too?
Yeah, I'm doing mine at 8 o'clock tomorrow. I'm just going over the top games. So I'll be going over Chiefs and Eagles, Chiefs Bengals now, right? Bills Jets. Talking about the top games on BR.
All right. Well, damn it, Jay. Listen, right now, everybody's doing their rookie drafts, or they're about to do their rookie drafts, or they're preparing to do their rookie drafts. And, you know, depending on what service, what fantasy site, who you listen to, you're going to get a lot of different opinions. So let's just talk through what we think what a draft should look like in Superflex, all right? So we got the sleeper board pulled up. We got Schefter over there just in case some other stuff breaks. But let's go ahead and switch back over there and talk through it, Jay. So we're going to do a Superflex 4-round, what a rookie mock should look like, Jay. And let's just start at the top. And everybody in the comments, holler at us, man. We want some opinion from y'all as well. But let's talk about it starting at the 101, Jay. You know where I stand on this. And as time has moved on and we've progressed through the draft, people have thought about this a little bit more. I've seen more and more people say that in Superflex, depending on the build, the particular team that you have, A-Rich should be the 101. And so I'm seeing more and more of that thrown out there, Jay. I've been on that train the whole time. I'm not opposed to a Bijan Robinson at 101 in Superflex. And if your team is ready to go, then do it. But he's a running back, man. And it's funny. I had downloaded and saved some images, Jay. I'd save some images of people that said Saquon Barkley, generational. Ezekiel Elliott, generational. Leonard Fournette, best running back we've seen come in 20 years. I mean, we do this shit every year. As soon as Nick Singleton declares he'll be the best running back that we've ever seen enter the draft since Walter Payton and Jim Brown. So, I mean, I want Bijan. I would like to have him. But in Superflex for me, Jay, there's only like 16 quarterbacks that really matter. And I want the guy that has the potential to sort of be that warp difference maker at a scarce position. So for me, I'm taking Anthony Richardson still at 101. Where are you at with it?
So I would say I'm probably about 60% Bijan, 40% A-Rich at 1. I'd be curious what your thoughts are on how you would divvy up that a little bit. But yeah, I think I'm still Bijan 1-1 in most cases. But that would be our tier 1, I think, for both of us, right? It would be Bijan or it'd be A-Rich, and those would be the guys that we would put at 1-1, whether it's 1 or 2, however you want to move that in the draft. I think that is our clear 1 and 2. But yeah, I think I would still be slightly Bijan than A-Rich, and part of that is just the way I play and how I build. But again, like you said, easily could take A-Rich at 1 if your team kind of dictates that, your build, all those various things. I think in most cases, maybe not most cases, but I think in the slight majority of cases, I would take Bijan at 1, but A-Rich at 1 or 2. That's your clear 1-2 for me. And then I don't know if you want to take much time to go through the next 3.
I didn't take a lot of time. I just think there's a lot of fucking cowards out there. I really do. I think a lot of people are cowardly. And the easy cop-out thing is, Bijan 101. In any other world, you get a quarterback like this to a landing spot like Indianapolis, and nobody's taking a goddamn running back over the quarterback in Superflex. It's not happening. Everyone is just nervous. They're scared. They've seen Malik. Well, what if he's not good? I know unequivocally 100% that Bijan Robinson is going to smash, which we don't. We think, and he has the skill set to do it. But I've been playing Dynasty for 10 years, and I can tell you right now, there have been running back after running back come through that people have touted to be all world, and then they're okay, or they're good but not that great, and then you're looking crazy. Like, people are cowardly, man. I think you're a little bit of a chicken.
Sure.
You don't. I'm in leagues with you. You don't fucking build with no running back at once. Stop lying
I play
to
a little
the people this
safer.
morning. No,
well,
you don't.
Ray, you know me, right?
Stop.
How many first round picks do I have in my leagues?
But you
not
don't.
Many,
you're
right?
not building with no running back at 101 in a super flex draft. You're not, Jay. Stop doing that. Don't lie to the people.
I don't got that many 101s. I'm just saying this is how what I would do in most cases, right? Again, but we can get into 2, 3, 4, right? Stroud, Young, and Gibbs. Not real much to talk about there. Which would get, or sorry, not Gibbs. We talked about Gibbs potentially at 103. Again, in most cases, probably wouldn't do it. It'd be Bryce, Stroud, and then Gibbs for me as 3, 4, and 5. I'm assuming you agree there. Obviously, quarterback, positional scarcity, going 1 and 2 for Stroud and Young is easy for me, and Gibbs obviously going at 12 makes him an easy selection here, rounds out our tier 2, and guys, you really, really want in this draft. That top 5 is very solid, and then obviously we can talk about who we would take after that, but do you have any comments on those groups of players, and would you reorganize them any differently in your rookie drafts?
Joe said, would anyone be surprised if Rich redshirted his rookie year? Absolutely. I don't think
he's not.
I don't think when they see him throw the ball next to Gardner Minshew, he's not redshirting. I predict and will take bets right now that he's the starting quarterback week 1 for the Indianapolis Colts.
And there's already rumblings of that too.
He's not already. He's not. I will bet a large amount of money he is not redshirting this year. Not a chance. I don't think so. And Jay, I'll give you C.J. Stroud here, but I think it should be Jahmyr Gibbs. I would take Jahmyr Gibbs right now over C.J. Stroud, but I made the executive decision at 1 with Anthony Richardson. I'm fine with Stroud at 4, but I'm probably taking Jahmyr Gibbs over C.J. Stroud. Not a fan.
So talk about that a little bit.
I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of the landing spot. I'm not a fan of the Houston organization. I'm not a fan of the weapons that are around him. Outside of Laramie Tunsil, there's nothing on the offensive line. I like Dameon Pierce. I'm not enthralled with what they have going on in Houston right now. And I'm very confident in the scheme and that the Lions run and the player that fits inside of that scheme. So I'm going to bet on Jahmyr Gibbs already being valued as RB5 on Keep Trade Cut. That if I take that asset, I'll be able to have more liquidity with him to do things in C.J. Stroud. But I made the executive decision at 1 to go Richardson. You could go Stroud at 4. I would probably take Jahmyr Gibbs over C.J. Stroud at 4 in a super flex. But at 5, we can go with Jahmyr Gibbs. So we're already off to non-agreeance right here. I don't think I would take Stroud over Gibbs. But now we're at 6, and I'm pretty sure that we're both going to say Jackson Smith and Jigba should be the pick at 6, right?
Yep.
All
right.
JSN
next in ADP, next wide receiver 1 in our ranks, top wide receiver off the board. There was a report even, did you see, that people think that the Seahawks have the best receiver core in the league with DK Lockett and JSN, which is maybe not bold, but a little wild. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect to hear that. But yeah, JSN clearly here. I think the dissemination would be at wide receiver 2, Ray. I think I would take Jordan Addison. Do you feel any differently about Addison? I think there is a lot of people who would take QJ. I believe in ranks right now, it is JSN and then QJ at 7. But how do you feel about QJ versus Addison? And then we can get to Zay Flowers, who will probably be
Jay,
9th for us.
Jay, I think they're both in good spots, man. You know, you can say what you want. I know we were both a little hesitant on Quentin Johnston, the prospect, but the capital is there. The situation is good. The quarterback is great. You look at the receivers that are currently in that room, even Josh Palmer, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, veterans. You got to climb through that, right? You've got to work your way through that at wide receiver. But I like the spot. I like Addison's spot more than any wide receiver in this draft. That's the spot that we wanted to see a receiver go to. And then it feels like he's just a perfect fit opposite of Justin Jefferson. So I'm with you in Superflex. If I'm sitting at the 107 spot, I would really, really like Jordan Addison. So I'm with you with Jordan Addison here. Jay, listen, man, I think 108, 109, for me, I would go Zay Flowers over Quentin Johnston.
Okay.
I would go Zay Flowers over QJ. I want to, I'm looking at Baltimore.
Watching those Twitter videos.
Is that what it is? I've been watching.
Ray, you've been watching that. See those videos of the twitchiness, the twitch,
man.
The twitch of Zay Flowers.
I don't think.
But yeah, talk about it, because you weren't on this train. We were kind of both at Zay Flowers at 4, but now you're back. You're saying QJ. Well, Justin Herbert we'll see. I'd rather have Lamar Jackson. So talk about Zay and why you like him, because I believe you had him graded higher in the film than QJ as well, right?
Yeah, I had him a little higher than Quentin Johnston. And that definitely goes into it, right? The fact that I had him pre-draft graded higher, then he got the capital. And I believe the landing spot is fine. I like the offense. I like the potential of the offense with Todd Monken at OC. Lamar Jackson is back, which is great. I saw Lamar Jackson do great things with Marquise Brown. And I'm not really concerned too much about OBJ and Rashad Bateman. Mark Andrews is a problem, but he plays in the AFC North, man. They're going to put up points. The Browns are going to put up points with Deshaun Watson and that new look offense.
Yep.
You've got the Cincinnati Bengals. You know what they're going to do 2 times out of the year, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to come to play. So I like the spot. I think Zay is probably going to get a little more opportunity quicker than QJ because he is behind Keenan Allen, one of the better wide receivers over the past however many years in the NFL. And Mike Williams is still a deep play threat. Justin Herbert's great, but I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these guys. We could go, we'll go Quentin Johnston here at the 1-8. Doesn't really, I think these are the 4 that are coming off in Superflex, Quentin Johnston or Zay Flowers. So now we're at the 110, Jay, and the conundrum is a lot of people have Will Levis slotted into that 110 spot in Superflex, Jay. I don't know.
I'm
going to just tell you, I would absolutely hate to have this pick and feel like I have to take Will Levis. So today, what I'm going to say is I'm not going to say that Will Levis at 110 is wrong, but I'm also going to say that if you want to go a different direction, I don't blame you, right? We've seen these quarterbacks that don't get first-round capital. I don't care how you slice it. Tennessee traded up for him. This team thought about trading up. It didn't happen. He fell from being a projected top 10 pick to a second-round quarterback. Right now, he's picked at the top of the second round, but you look at the investment that Tennessee has in Will Levis, and it's not much, Jay. If he goes out there and gets an opportunity to play this year and doesn't look well, they do not have the type of investment, monetary investment in him to say that we've got to give him another chance next year, right?
Yep.
No matter how bad. And I think all the rookie quarterbacks, Jay, are going to struggle at times this year. They're rookies. It's the NFL. It's transition. Bryce Young's going to have his growing pains. C.J. Stroud's going to have his growing pains. Anthony Richardson is going to have his growing pains. But the thing that's different between those 3 and Will Levis is the money that is invested in them and the opportunity that they're going to get to work through those struggles. And I just don't see Tennessee giving Will Levis, because of the capital invested in him, the opportunity to work through those struggles. Now, maybe they take an Eagles approach and give him some time. He plays those final 4 games, gets a year. I don't know. I would hate to have to feel like everyone's telling me I must take Will Levis at the 110, Jay. So if you don't go Will Levis at 110 in Superflex, where would you go?
I think that's the hardest part, right? So you made the case, right? Levis is the pick here per ADP. And I think people need to understand, like, this top 9 is very solidified for, I think, both of us. If I got a top 9 pick, I feel pretty good. Even within that tier 3 where it's really just the receivers, I'm fine with any of those guys. When you get to this spot, it is literally get your guys season. Yeah. And so you said, who would you take?
Who would you take? If you don't take Levis, who would you take here at 110?
Okay, so for me, it would be a running back, right? The next in ADP is Dalton Kincaid. No thank you, especially in just a standard PPR league. It would be A-Chain, Charbonnet, or Miller, right? Those are the next group of running backs that I'd be looking at. And I think it's really tough because I believe, when we saw the Charbonnet draft capital, we were like, okay, the draft capital is there, but the situation's ass. Like, he's got to deal with Kenneth Walker. How's it going to shake out? And we loved it for Devon A-Chain. But the reality is that Charbonnet could still see plenty more opportunities than A-Chain this season. And, we're really projecting with A-Chain and what his role could be. But the upside at the 110 might be worth it to take A-Chain here. And so if I'm taking a shot at the top of a tier and I can't trade down, I would probably take A-Chain. Again, it's not the best pick in my opinion, because if you want to go safety, I think the pick is probably Charbonnet. Or if you want to go like ultimate upside, you're looking at Kendre Miller. But for me, I do have A-Chain and Charbonnet ahead of Miller, and I would probably take A-Chain if I was forced to make a pick here. Do you feel any differently about that?
I've got A-Chain in my rankings a little ahead of Zach Charbonnet. Now, mind you, I did this the Sunday after the draft, the Monday after the draft, and I've got Charbonnet right there. I've got Mingo up there, Kendre Miller, A-Chain. Jay, I'm kind of with you. I think Charbonnet would be the pick. I think it's a bigger indictment, Jay, on Kenneth Walker than it is on Zach Charbonnet. So let me just ask this question. Are you taking Will Levis at the 110?
I think I would in certain leagues, just because I think there is the value there. But part of me is also like, well, I also have seen Will Levis's passing numbers, and they're really not that great. And when you compare them to Jalen Hurts' passing numbers in his final season, you're like, yeah, there's a pretty clear difference here between these two players. Even if you go look at his sophomore season, they still don't even come close to Jalen Hurts' passing numbers at Oklahoma in his final season. So it's like, you know, you look at all the top passers in college and they tend to do well in the NFL. But I think that Charbonnet is the safe pick here. And if you're a contender looking to add points to your roster, I think Charbonnet is a great pick. And I'd probably take A-Chain at 11. But it'd be between those two guys for me. That's who I'd be looking at. But Levis is a guy I would consider with certain builds, but I still don't necessarily think he's going to turn out. But I have to have some shares just in case he does.
Jay, I'm just kind of out, man. I'll see it. If it happens, then I'll buy back in. He's a player that I don't think
he's not gonna be unattainable if he hits, and we can be like, we feel good about him early and buy in.
I don't want to blow. I don't want to blow my 110 on Will Levis. I just don't want to do it. Damn the format. I just don't want to do it, Jay. I'm not drafting him. Hendon Hooker is another one that I just have little interest in drafting. Just the opportunity cost for those guys. I just don't feel like blowing the 110 on them. So. We'll move down the board. Now we're at 111, Jay, and I'm just going to tell you flat out, I would take Devon A-Chain here. But do you want to talk? Do you want to talk me into Will Levis here at 111?
No, I would take him at 12. I think that's the spot where you should feel a little more confident. Like I said, there's not a big gap between Miller, Charbonnet, and A-Chain, but I do think there was a clear 1-2 between A-Chain and Charbonnet, and I would probably take Levis before I would take Miller. And, you know, then we could talk about tight ends potentially top of the second round. I don't know if we would go there quite yet, but a lot of smoke about Dalton Kincaid, right? Like, he's the clear tight end one of this rookie class. It's not Michael Mayer. It's not Sam Laporta. It's very clearly Dalton Kincaid, and he's going at the 110, 111, 112. Would you consider him here at 2-1 with the Bills talking about how now they're going to play a lot more 12 personnel? He'll be working as the slot guy. And Brandon Beane already said he's not going to block much, which is hilarious because it's almost like an indictment on him publicly that he can't block, even though he knows that. But I'd almost want to challenge him a little bit to see if he can block on the field. But would you consider him here with Kendre Miller on the board, who we still really like, to New Orleans in the third round?
So we're just talking about a pretty standard, pretty vanilla league, right? SUPERFLEX, no tight end premium. We didn't want to do that today. Just a standard PPR league. Jay, I mean,
he could be a top pick. He could be a top tight end. I mean, I kind of like Michael Mayer too, personally, but I think that Kincaid, he's deserving of that. I don't know if I would take him, but I think he's deserving of being tight end one.
So real quick, we took Devon A-Chain at 111 and then Will Levis at 112. I love this comment from Tater Wolf. He said, "I'm thrilled with my 207 investment in Will Levis. I'd be just fine with him at 2." Yeah. I'm great with that. I think that's an air horn. Love that, Tater Wolf. You got him at 207. Yep. I'm fine with that. At 110, I don't like it, Jay, at all. But here we go. Now we're at 201. Do I want to take a tight end? A rookie tight end in a standard PPR league at the top of the second? Hell no. Absolutely not. I don't want to do that, Jay. I don't want to do it, but I know a lot of you look at the board and it's like, where else? We're getting to that point already.
We haven't even talked second round wide receivers at all. Not even in conversation. So it's tough, but I think, we have Dalton Kincaid, right? We have Kendre Miller, who we both like a lot. And then the next tier for me is getting into those second round wide receivers, some third round wide receivers that we do like in good situations. But if I'm kind of like putting these players in a rankings tier system like we're doing here, I probably still would take Kendre Miller, and I wouldn't consider Kincaid until the next pick.
Yeah, let's go Kendre Miller here at 2-1, Jay. I have a problem with taking the tight end in a PPR league, a rookie tight end that high. So I'm going to go Kendre Miller, and I would also even beg the question, does Jonathan Mingo go before? We're not talking tight end premium. We're talking just a regular PPR league, man. A regular PPR league. And where was Jonathan Mingo drafted? 39 overall, I believe.
39 to the Panthers. I mean, it's interesting, right? And Ray, it's funny. I was in a couple drafts where I had the 103, right? And I desperately wanted to do a Bryce Young Mingo stack with 103 and 203 because I think it's a very feasible stack. And, we're going through it right now. And it kind of makes sense. You could see Dalton Kincaid here at 2-2 and then Mingo at 2-3. And you could make the case for Mingo. I don't know if I would. And the one guy we haven't, or two guys we haven't mentioned that were day 2 backs, because we've been drafting day 2 backs recently here, is Tank Bigsby and Tajay Spears, who's been falling down boards after the reports of the ACL injury. Early on in drafts, and when we were talking about Tajay, this is probably around a spot we would have had him. But with the ACL concerns and some of that stuff, would you consider him here at all, or would you take a second round wide receiver?
I'm telling you, the pick that I would take, and I see a lot of people talking about some A-Rich in the chat. I want to get to that in a second. A lot of good conversation there. Appreciated everybody in the chat. Tater Wolf, Joe, Rowe in there. I'm taking Mingo right here, Jay. I think Mingo's don't get sucked in by the sleeper who's at the top of the ADP list. Like, if you're in a normal PPR league or a half-point PPR league, if you're going to take a rookie tight end this early, you are betting on them to be what from day one? I mean, just go look at
Jeremy Shockey, Evan Ingram, very productive, very productive.
I just can't. I don't think that's the right process, Jay. This tight end class is incredibly deep at the tight end position. So why would you be the guy or girl in your league who takes one at 2-1 at the 1-7 in a PPR league? Like, what? Nah, man. No. Jonathan Mingo is where we're going right here. This is what it should be. You should not be taking a rookie tight end in a non-consequential tight end scoring format in the second round, at the beginning of the second, at the back of the first. Don't do it, man. All right, Jay.
All right. So Tater Wolf had a good point here, and I do want to ask you about these receivers, because this is kind of where I would be looking next in my drafts. We talked about Tajay. We're probably not taking him here. Tank Bigsby, I probably wouldn't take either. Roshan, because he was a 4th rounder, probably wouldn't take him here. I'd be looking at the second round wide receivers. But talk about these receivers: Jonathan Mingo to Carolina, Rashee Rice to Kansas City, and Jaden Reed to Green Bay. All in the second round, the only second round wide receivers, I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly. But how do you rank those guys? Because for me, it would probably be in order of draft capital, but I might lean Rice over Reed. So it was Mingo, Reed, and then Rice, in the second round in that order. And I think I would probably put Rice over Reed in the rankings, and I would take him next because I just really like the spot in KC. And there seems to be a lot of smoke of him playing quite a bit early and often.
Man, there's a lot of enthusiasm for Rashee Rice, so I'm appreciating that. But I'm all in on Jaden Reed, Jay. This is a player that I like a lot at Michigan. You know that in the DD community, I've been very high on Jaden Reed. I was very excited to see him and meet him in person at the Senior Bowl. He delivered there. He got the draft capital. What's funny about Rashee Rice is I think a lot of fantasy gamers are so worn out by the Kansas City Chiefs narrative that then people didn't really like Rashee. Like, people liked Rashee Rice, but he wasn't a big name through the process. So now everybody is like, Rashee Rice. And watch this be the son of a bitch that goes out there and has 80-something receptions, 1,100 yards.
Replaces Juju entirely.
Watch him be the good one. And we're like, oh, we should have been buying into Rashee Rice. But I can't
still
put him over.
Sky Moore, though.
Yeah, still buying that Sky Moore, ADP of 125 on Underdog. But I can't take Rice right here. I think after Jonathan Mingo, my next pick, Jay, would be Jaden Reed, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. I look at that wide receiver room. Got a lot of young talent, but it's a lot of young talent, right? Jaden Reed
that good.
plays a different game than Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. It really seems like a very good fit in an offense that they surrounded their young quarterback with weapons. So right here, I would take Jaden Reed, and we were kind of with the same players there. I would take Jaden Reed here at the 2-3. Really like his talent, and I like the situation and at least opportunity to score his fantasy points in Green Bay. So there's Jaden Reed off the board at 2-3. Jay, when Kendre Miller, Jonathan Mingo, and Jaden Reed at the top of the second round. Now we've got Marvin Mims, Rashee Rice, Jay. We've got Tank Bigsby. I'm looking at my rankings. Where do you want to go next? Because I'm pretty sure people are like, all right, do you take the tight ends now? What's the hype and the smoke with Roshan Johnson in Chicago? A lot of rumors that they don't want to have a featured back. They kind of want to rotate some guys. What do you want to do right here at the 2-4? What should the people be doing at the 2-4 spot? Should it be Rashee Rice, Jay?
For me, it would still be Rashee Rice. I think that, you know, whether you get him as the third wide receiver, the second of those second round wide receivers, that's the guy I would take over the third round running backs in Tank Bigsby and Tajay Spears, over Roschon Johnson, even over Dalton Kincaid. You know, I do like the situation a lot. And you talked about it with Reed, like he could easily be the wide receiver 2. The reason why Mingo is first is because he could be the wide receiver 1 in Carolina. And we can't say that about the other 2 guys. You know, wide receiver 1 in Kansas City, sure, potentially for Rashee Rice, but we all know that Travis Kelce, for as long as he's there, will be the wide receiver 1, so he really be operating as a 2. So it would be Rice here for me, but I think that Dalton Kincaid is the clear next pick at 205 because, again, he is a difference maker at tight end and probably will get a lot of targets early. Will they be, you know, Jeremy Shockey, Evan Ingram type of targets? Probably not, but I think he can do some great stuff, and I think he is deserving of a pick here at 2.5.
Whoo! Joe said Rice went at 111 in a pretty serious FFPC league. Damn. 111. Oh my gosh. And then
I think it was Evan Silva who took him at 107, right?
Then DS said Mingo was a terrible pick. Hates Mingo. Should have taken Sam Laporta there, huh, DS? Should have taken
big Iowa guy.
Should have taken Kincaid or Mayer. All right, Jay. Now we're at the 2-5. We got third round wide receivers, first round tight end, second round tight end, third round quarterback, and third and fourth round running backs right here, Jay.
Woo!
Is this the spot? Is this the spot where you take Kincaid? Is this the spot in a PPR league where you're okay taking Dalton Kincaid?
I think so, yes. You know, I think we did a lot of rookie mocks, and 2.5, 2.6 is where we thought about it. And now we're seeing the draft capital. It's almost worse than expected. So I think it's pretty easy to take Kincaid here. And for us, this is a lot lower than ADP, a lot lower than where he usually goes, but that means you will get some value further down the board. But I think taking Kincaid here is fine. You won't be upset with the pick, and he probably upgrades your roster at that spot. So I do like it quite a bit here.
All right, Jay. So one tight end is off of the board. It's the only first round tight end. Where else do we go?
The next pick, I probably would go back to running back, and that's when I'd be looking at Tajay Spears and Tank Bigsby, because at some point we're going to have to be looking at those guys because they did get day 3 capital. Would you take Roschon Johnson over both of them, though? Day 2 capital, sorry. Would you take Roschon over both those guys? Because I do want your thoughts on them. I don't think I'd be looking receiver here. You know, there's a couple receivers that we like that went in the third round. Hendon Hooker I'm not taking here, but you know, some people consider it.
Marvin Mims back of the second to Denver. They traded up to get Marvin Mims, Jay. They traded up.
I think it was their first pick too.
It was their first pick, and that's why I'm kind of looking. If you took Rice right there, okay, you could take Rice, 55, Kansas City. Kansas City moved up to get Rashee Rice. You know, the investment capital that Green Bay gave Jaden Reed. But let's not forget, Denver's been very active in trying to at least spark up some trade interest for one of, now not Jerry Jeudy because they picked up his 5th-year option, but Cortland Sutton potentially, you know, on the block or available to get moved. KJ Hamler has not been the model of health. And this was their first pick. You know, they traded all that capital to get Russell Wilson, and this was their first pick. They got to sit back, and they said, we got to go up. We got to get Marvin Mims, a player that I graded pre-draft as wide receiver 5 in my film grade. So I think if you want to take Kincaid there, fine. You want to take the first round tight end, I'm cool with that. Scott Connors talked a lot about wide receiver hit rate. You know, being inside that top 40, top 50 is probably pretty good for receivers. After that, it's very sketchy. But right here, with Russell Wilson, with Sean Payton, with them this being their first pick, I think I would go Marvin Mims here at the 2.6 over Spears, Roschon, Tank Bigsby, all of those guys. I think I'm taking Marvin Mims here at the 2.6, Jay.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think, you know, you could almost make some parallels to what Brandon Cooks did really well at Oregon State, and obviously Sean Payton and that Saints offense drafted him, and he worked out pretty good for them. So I think, you know, you look at what Marvin Mims does well, getting down the field, using his speed to get open, and we haven't seen his true route tree because he wasn't able to utilize that at Oklahoma. So I'm curious how they develop him. And like you mentioned, maybe not a one-year play, but down the line could definitely be. Now, Ray, I'm looking at those tight ends, man, and I know that we don't want to take tight ends here in particular, but I still really like the situation for Michael Mayer.
Okay.
In that New England style offense with Josh McDaniels, I think you could easily make the case for Mayer as tight end 1. And I would probably take him here. I understand the quarterback situation is not settled, but again, Jimmy Garoppolo has been pretty good to his tight ends over the years, and I do like the system and scheme. Now, there is Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers there as well, so there's lots of playmakers to be made, but I think down the line that Mayer will be a featured player in this offense and a red zone threat, so I do like Mayer here at 2.7. Would you go another direction at all?
Well, I locked it in for you at 2.7. I think you could go running back here. I see Josh Downs at the top of the ADP charts right here. I couldn't take.
Thank you.
I want Downs. Mayer was a high second round pick. It's only Austin Hooper. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. Sure, you could take Michael Mayer. I could make a case for another running back there, but I think the running backs are about to come off of the board right now, Jay. So at 2.8, 2.9, where do you want to go? I'm looking, and there's been a lot of I don't want to say discourse, but a lot of opinions on this cluster of running back. Bigsby versus Spears versus Roschon Johnson. And I think that's sort of where we're sitting right now. And for me, Jay, I like Tank Bigsby. I had Tank graded higher than Roschon, film grade, pre-draft process. He got higher draft capital. He lands in pretty good offense with Trevor Lawrence and with Travis Etienne. Etienne is there. But, Chicago, I think they ran the ball the most times in the NFL last year. It was between them and the Atlanta Falcons. I can't remember which one. Second most.
They're right behind them.
All right, right behind Atlanta. Literally, like right behind them, a couple of carries.
Yeah, a couple of carries.
They're going to run the damn ball again this year. And they've already come out to say that they don't know if they want to have a featured back. They are very intrigued by the skill set that Roschon Johnson brings to the table. We know that Khalil Herbert's not particularly good on third downs. Deontay Foreman can do a little bit of everything. But I do believe there's a real world in which Roschon Johnson is getting a lot more carries for that offense earlier than expected. I would probably take Roschon Johnson over Tank Bigsby. I'm definitely taking him over Tajay Spears. So I'm going to leave it up to you. Tank Bigsby or Jay, I like Spears. I don't see a world in which he's doing much. And Scott talks about this all the time with running backs. I don't want to have to wait 3 years for a running back to figure it out. I need to know what I'm getting out of the running back right now. Are you doing anything for me right now? And absent a Derrick Henry trade, tell me when Tajay's getting on the field to do much of what? Third downs?
Yeah.
Third down work? That's what you want? That's what he's not taking anything away from Derrick Henry. It's not happening, man. So it's just hard for me to invest in Spears right here at the 2.8 spot. I would go Roschon and then Tank. Those would be my next two picks. You let me know what you want to do.
So I'm with you on Roschon, but I am curious why you would take Tank over Tajay. And the only reason why I say that is because I think we can see a clear path to playing time for Tajay as the receiving back. Now, again, what does that role look like? We'll see. It is a new offense, so we'll see how that ultimately develops. Dontrell Hilliard last year, 21 receptions, 177 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's not anything to write home about, right? Like, you don't want to start that guy in your lineups. But again, there is a clear path to receiving down work for Tajay, and if he gets anything else on the ground as well, that would be a bonus. So it's not a great role, but behind Travis Etienne with Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Trevor Lawrence, all these guys on the offense, where's the opportunity for Tank to really carve out much of a role other than between the 20s? He'd have to kind of assume that red zone role. And so I'd be curious why you would take him over Spears. Again, I guess you're if Etienne gets injured, maybe you have a good running back.
You're telling me to choose between which back I'd rather him back up, Travis Etienne or Derrick Henry. I mean, that's why, Jay. It's because it's Etienne versus Derrick Henry. That's why.
But one's going to catch passes and one's not. And Tajay's probably going to be the one who catches passes. That's the only reason why I might lean Tajay. Is I get you on the carries. The carries are not going to be there for Tajay. But he can probably catch passes out of the backfield because he's much more dynamic than Derrick Henry is. And so if this new offense does feature a Tajay Spears in the receiving game a little bit more, he could have more value than Tank pretty easily. But I'm with you. If you want to go Tank, that's fine. But I think this is the next three. It'd be Roschon first for sure. If you want to go Tank, Bigsby next, and then it would be Tajay for me just after that.
I'm taking Tank. I gave you benefit of the doubt for like 5 picks. I'm not taking Tajay Spears over Bigsby, and he's not more dynamic than Derrick Henry either. So you want to go Tajay Spears at 210?
I would, yeah.
All right, Spears.
I would still take the running back here.
All right, Tajay Spears. So we went Roschon Johnson 2.8, Tank Bigsby 2.9, and then Tajay Spears at 2.10. Jay, our final 2 picks of the second round. Josh Downs is still on the board. He was drafted in the 3rd round. Jalen Hyatt, 3rd round pick of the New York Giants. Got said Tillman. He was also a day 2 pick, 3rd rounder. We got some tight ends, bunch of fifth-round running backs, and it's starting to get scary hours. You got Sam Laporta still there. Is this a spot that you would want to take Sam Laporta? What would you do? What is the play? What are you recommending the people do at this spot? Hendon Hooker, third-round quarterback, can't do that, right? Cannot do that.
No. I think your point about Laporta is good, although part of me wants to take the shot on Jalen Hyatt because I think he's got the highest upside of anyone left on the board. For the Giants, we thought he could have day 2 capital. We thought he could have day 1 capital. Yeah. But he ended up going in the 3rd round. We thought he could go in the 2nd round. But still went to the Giants. Still a spot that we wanted him to go to. And for me, you look at the upside of Jaden Reed, I think that Jalen Hyatt has very similar upside on a team with even less talent catching the ball, right? So for me, I think I would go and look at Hyatt here. Okay. If you wanted to take Laporta, though, I wouldn't blame you. But I think, if you wanted to just shoot for that upside at 211, I think Hyatt's probably the pick.
Let me just ask you, why Hyatt over Downs? Why Hyatt over Downs?
Man,
they're both third-round picks.
I know, but it's just, for me, I don't like the way that Downs is probably going to be utilized in that offense versus a Hyatt who will be a downfield threat for the Giants. I know exactly what he's going to do. I know the role he can fill. I don't really know how they're going to utilize Downs. And part of that will be, how does he gel with Richardson? How does he fit within the system? I know Michael Pittman's already there. They're going to use the tight ends heavily. They have Jonathan Taylor. We know the Giants want to throw the ball. They just didn't have the pieces to do that. Now, in this season, again, do they have the pieces now? We'll see, but Jalen Hyatt should be a big piece of the offense. So, again, if you wanted to take Josh Downs, there's a lot of people who love Josh Downs. Dude was always hurt. The profile looked great. I think he can be a red zone threat. But if I'm shooting for upside, I think Jalen Hyatt's probably the pick for me.
Yeah, Patrick said, sell me, and not you, Jay, because we got to keep going. He said, sell me on Mayer's landing spot being better than Laporta. I don't see it. Very, very good question. All I'll say is when I did that film breakdown of Jahmyr Gibbs and I went back and watched those 6 Lions games, it seemed like TJ Hawkinson was doing a lot of blocking out there, a lot of blocking for DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. But I'm with you. I think it's a good spot. It's a great offense for Sam Laporta, Jay. And I really do like Josh Downs. I think it's a reasonable assumption to make that offense, at least early, is going to be predicated heavily on the run. You still have Jonathan frickin' Taylor in the backfield running the ball for you. So I'm going to assume it's going to be a run-heavy scheme. And again, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. I think that all the rookie quarterbacks are going to have their growing pains, all of them. I don't think any of them come in and just lift off smash from day one. They're all going to have their growing pains. So it's going to be some trials and tribulations for all of these guys, Jay. But here at the 211 spot, I think we both like Jalen Hyatt, 3rd-round receiver. I like Josh Downs a lot too, Jay. I had him graded higher than Jalen Hyatt, but Giants landing spot probably a little more conducive to the pass than Indy, at least early, Jay. So we can go Jalen Hyatt here. I'm fine with Hyatt there. I would take Josh Downs before Sam Laporta here, but Sam Laporta would come off the board right at 3-1. Or I could take Laporta, or we could take Laporta here since he was a 2nd-round pick. We could take Sam Laporta. I'm fine with taking Laporta at the back of the 2nd, and I'm just going to go ahead and set Josh Downs in at 3-1. I saw somebody in the chat say Downs went at the back of the 3rd in one of their drafts. So let's just go through the 2nd round really quickly. I didn't recap round 1, but round 2 went Kendre Miller, Jonathan Mingo, Jaden Reed, Rashee Rice. I think we did pretty good with those 4. Dalton Kincaid, the first tight end off the board at 2-5. Marvin Mims at 2-6. Michael Mayer. May go back to that one and talk through that one. Mayer at 2-7. Roshan Johnson, Tank Bigsby, and Tajay Spears come off the board at 2-8, 2-9, and 2-10. And then to round out the 2nd, we went Giants wide receiver Jalen Hyatt and newly crowned Detroit Lions tight end Sam Laporta at the 2-12. And then at the top of the 3rd, we kicked it off with Josh Downs at the 3-1, Jay. All right, Downs is off the board, Jay. Best available according to ADP on Sleeper, which, we don't mind a bunch, but just kind of looking at what they have. Hendon Hooker, Luke Musgrave, Cedric Tillman, Chase Brown, Izzy Abanikanda, Keyshawn Boutte, Zach Evans, Washington, Deuce Vaughn. Where do you go here, Jay? Because now it's get your guys /theory /historical hit rate /situation / there's not a fantasy analyst on the goddamn planet, us included, that are going to tell you that the way that the 3rd and 4th round should go. This is where, folks, it's banana land. honestly. Like we will talk through some players that we think have some opportunity, but Jay, what do you want to do here? You want the 5th round running back? You want the 6th round wide receiver? This is anybody watching this, listening to this, this is where it just gets kind of maddening. And if you're in tight end premium leagues, you feel good because there's a lot of tight ends here. If you're in point per, I don't even know. If you're looking for a quarterback, you're shit out of luck because it's just nothing right now. It's get your guy season right now, Jay. So at 3-2, what would you do at 3-2, Jay?
I mean, for me, this is a pretty easy pick for the most part. I'm usually taking Chase Brown here. I'm looking at the running backs, who's available, and there's just not a lot of guys here. After Roschon Johnson, it's really ugly, really fast. Now, Chase Brown seems like he's probably just Joe Mixon's backup, and that's it. But again, other than that, in the 3rd round, we're looking at 4th round wide receivers, 3rd round tight ends, and we're kind of like, who the hell do we take here? I think that Chase Brown does have an opportunity to get an opportunity this year. The draft capital was fine. We'll see what ultimately ends up happening with the Bengals running back situation. But of the running backs available, he's probably one of the best and definitely on the best team. So I think for me, this is an easy selection here. I was also looking at Tank Dell, right? Because again, we kind of dismissed Tank Dell a lot, but he was drafted 69th overall. So I don't want to dismiss him entirely. But usually I would be looking at running back here. We're just taking running backs that got drafted in the best situations. And for me, Chase Brown would be the next pick for sure.
All right, Chase Brown. Wide receiver, you got Seth Tillman, who went to the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson in the 3rd round. You got Tank Dell, 3rd rounder. I'm kind of with you with Tank Dell as well. I don't want to we like to.
For me, he was a 4th round target, and now I'm kind of like, well, maybe that was wrong. Maybe he's got to be up higher than that, right? So,
Jay, I think the play right here for me at this point, I'm leaning on the capital that the tight end got, and I would take Luke Musgrave here. If this were my one draft, like if this were my only draft, what I would try to do is I'd be perfectly fine with Tucker Kraft. So would there be a way for me to move down and not have to take Musgrave and then be able to land Tucker Kraft a little bit later? I think I would do that. But I'm fine with Luke Musgrave here. I'm going to make 3 picks, all right, Jay, because we got to speed it up.
Let's go.
I'm going to go Luke Musgrave. I'm going to go Cedric Tillman. And then I may shock some folks right here, but in talking to people in Dallas, being out here listening through the tea leaves, I'm going to take Luke Schoonmaker right here at the 3-5. So I went Musgrave, Tillman, Schoonmaker in a PPR league. I think this is where they can start coming off the board. I'm just telling you, in Dallas, I trust with tight ends. I've been pretty good with tight ends in Dallas over the course of this old fantasy career. And I do believe that sooner rather than later, Luke Schoonmaker, he's by far the most athletic tight end on the roster. He brings a different element to this Dallas Cowboys offense. And I think they're going to ingratiate and incorporate him in the offense pretty soon. So I'm not worried about Peyton Hendershot. I like Jake Ferguson, but I think sooner rather than later, people are going to be on the Schoon train. So I'm going to take Schoonmaker at 3-5. Jay, you got the next 3 picks. Where do you want to go?
All right, so now that we've got the fish to take the tight ends and the wide receivers, that's beautiful. I will take Israel Abanikanda, Eric
What about
Gray,
Tank Dell? You're going to take Izzy over Tank Dell?
I will take all 3 of them together.
I'm
taking Izzy over Tank Dell.
Yes, I am. One more time. You're taking Izzy Abanikanda over Tank Dell.
I am taking Israel Abanikanda and Eric Gray over Tank Dell, but Tank Dell would be the 3rd pick for me here. Really like Izzy, really like the talent. Again, I'm curious if it means anything in regards to Breece Hall's health, and that's kind of where we're reading into it a little bit. And I think he can carve out a role, right? We look at Michael Carter and what he did and the opportunity he had in that offense. Izzy can do more than Michael Carter in a lot of ways. We'll see if he gets on the field. But in the 3rd round, I'd be willing to take a shot on the running back that got drafted. We know that Aaron Rodgers likes to throw to running back, so if Izzy can figure out the receiving game, there could be opportunity there as well. But I think as a pure runner, he could definitely provide something to this offense. How much is it? I don't know. And then Eric Gray as a pass catching back for Daniel Jones. I really, really like that. Does he get on the field a lot? We'll see, but I think at some point they have to do something to limit the touches for Saquon Barkley, and maybe that could be in the receiving game instead of, just using him in the receiving game. They can continue to slam him up that A-gap on that option, right? On that team-friendly contract, that $10 million, instead of giving him the extension and then ship him off to Dallas next season when the Cowboys have some cap space. So for me, that's how I would go. Ray, do you feel any differently about those backs and then Tank Dell as the 3rd player here?
I just want to say, Joe, there were 2 comments that I want to highlight real quick. Joe said, it just went away. She said 3rd round is where you just have to get your guy and dream a little. Absolutely.
Yep.
And then Tater, where's the comment from Tater Wolf at, man? He was like, I would fade tight ends here and go. I feel you, but where else do we go? Where else do we go? Where else do we go? Do I really want to take Evan Hull, who was drafted in the 6th round, to the Indianapolis Colts? It just, this is where it just gets, take your guy and dream a little bit, right? I forgot the damn question you asked me, Jay. What did you ask me about Izzy?
I was asking you about these players, right? So Izzy, Eric Gray, and Tank Dell. Would you put anyone else in here? How do you feel about those guys?
Depends on the draft, Jay. Sure. I would take somebody ahead of Izzy Abanikanda. I don't know who, but I would.
But part of it is the running back theory, right? We want running backs on our rosters who got drafted. You don't want these late receivers. Now, Tank Dell obviously was not a late receiver. He was 69 overall. But after Tank Dell, there's basically nobody available. Then you're looking at Keyshawn Boutte for the memes, for the vibes, and to trade him for a 2nd-round pick when he starts week 1. But outside of that, there's not really a lot of receivers I'm looking at, especially in the 3rd.
All right. I'm going to take a community pick. In this pick, before I take it, I'm just going to say that I'm making this pick, and the moment there's any rumbling about him going to get an opportunity to get some carries, I am trading him immediately, because there are still people out there, and I've seen him drafted in the 2nd round. But I'm just going to take Zach Evans right here.
Let's go.
Rams. I'm going to take Zach Evans at 3.9. Listen, I'm not a fan of his game. Don't think he's very good. You look at the Rams backfield, and there's a pathway, right? Ronnie Rivers and Kyron Williams. Akers is dope. But if Evans gets on the field, there will be people out there that'll trade you a 24-second for him, and I would move that immediately. So I'll take Zach Evans at the 3.9 spot, Jay. I'm going to go Darnell Washington here at 3.10.
Perfect.
I'm just going to pray that he catches some touchdowns from Kenny Pickett at 3.10. That's all I can hope for right there. Jay, at the 3.11 spot, I'm telling you who I'm looking at. I'm looking at Michael Wilson. I'm looking at Britton Strange. I'm looking at those two, but
Brenton Strange. We haven't even drafted Tucker Kraft yet, and you're looking at Brenton Strange?
Well, Strange, Kraft, that kind of range of tight end. Strange was a 2nd-round pick. It was a 2nd-round pick.
I'm taking Tucker Kraft, man. Luke Musgrave been off the board for a minute. Tucker Kraft is easily here.
All right.
Easily.
Tucker, you want Kraft
I would take
here?
him over Darnell Washington, because I think he can be the tight end 1 on that offense, and I think it'd be a very good role. We've seen what they've done with tight ends, whether that's, when Matt LaFleur was in Tennessee or him in Green Bay. They've had some good tight ends, both those, or for a lot of those years. So I do like that spot a lot. And like you've talked about, a lot of people don't believe Musgrave's going to be the receiving tight end potentially. I would take Kraft here. And once Musgrave goes off the board, I am looking at Kraft immediately. You could look at Darnell Washington, but again, his opportunity could be limited. He could be blocking a lot. Like you mentioned, touchdown threat, but that's about it. But I think Kraft could carve out a role as a receiving threat. But I do like Michael Wilson if you want to take a shot, because I believe he was also a day 2 guy. And so, again, in Arizona, unfortunately for us, though, Ray, DeAndre Hopkins seems like he's back.
Tater Wolf said, I've seen Kraft on waivers after the draft in tight end premium leagues. Wow.
That is
wow.
absurd.
All right, Jay, Hendon Hooker or Michael Wilson here? Michael Wilson, what a riser. Congratulations. Nobody knew who Michael Wilson was until the Senior Bowl, unless they went to Stanford, and he worked his way into a day 2 pick at receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. There's not a lot. Well, you got DeAndre Hopkins in Hollywood, but after that, it's Rondale, it's Greg Dortch, I don't know who else they have. What do you want to do here at 312? You want to go Hendon Hooker, or you want to go Mike Wilson?
No, let's take Michael Wilson. Let's show some love to Michael Wilson. We can take Hendon Hooker at the 401. Really show the people how we value those 3rd-round quarterbacks. Mr. Redshirt himself, Hendon Hooker. I would take him in the 3rd round if you want to. You want to take a shot. You have a QB-needy team, but he's not playing this year, and he might not play the year after that. So there's not a lot of hope for Hooker right now, especially if Goff keeps playing really well.
Especially if they give Goff that contract. Here's what's going to happen. Detroit's going to win the NFC North. Goff's going to lead them to the playoffs. They're going to win a game, then lose, and then Goff is going to get a 4-year extension. If they win the North, they're getting a playoff game. They're getting a home playoff game. So I think he's going to lead them to the playoffs. The North is very open to win. Minnesota Vikings winning a bunch of games by like 1 point at the end. Justin Jefferson bailing them out. Josh Allen fumbling at the goal line. I think Detroit's got a real opportunity to win the North, and if they do that, they're going to roll with Jared Goff. He was a really good quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks back half of the season in the NFL last year. So I just don't see a world in where Hendon Hooker's getting on the field anytime soon, absent an injury to Jared Goff. But we took him at the 4-1. We're at the final couple of picks in the 4th round. Jay, where are you shooting? Because once I get to this spot, it is really running backs, take a couple of shots. We went Hendon Hooker at the 4-1. You want to go Kayshon Boutte at 4-2?
We could. I think, the other running backs I'm looking at, like you mentioned, Evan Hall, Dwayne McBride in Minnesota. If anything happens with Dalvin Cook, I'd be interested there. Would you take a shot, Ray? Sean Tucker, right? On the Bucks, wasn't drafted, but on the Bucks, pretty clear spot there. There was talks, actually. I don't know if you saw this.
Got to get that Sean Tucker.
Your boy. Going to Tampa. I don't know about that, but they can go ahead and sign him if they want. Yeah, take Boutte here. Next for me would be McBride. I do want to see what happens in Minnesota, and then probably Evan Hall after that I would look at, because he got drafted in a pretty good spot to Indy. We'll see what they do there, but obviously a team that had Nyheim Hines in a pretty solid role for them before. Evan Hall potentially could take that role. I don't know. I think he has the skill set to do so, but I think I'd be intrigued in the 4th round to take a shot on him as well.
It's just, Evan Hall, 6th round pick. Dwayne McBride, damn near undrafted. Tucker, undrafted. Jay, I'm just going to do it. They said, get your guy, and they didn't draft. We said that they would draft a running back. I swore up and down and promised you they would draft a running back, and they did, Jay. They drafted a running back. He's just 5'5", 180 pounds. So I saw him working out with Jamar Chase and Micah Parsons, so he must be kind of good.
Go.
I'm going to take Deuce Vaughn here at the 4-5 spot, Jay. We'll go Deuce Vaughn. I'm just taking shots on running backs here. I'm fine with Sean Tucker. And then I would also, Jay, here with my 3rd pick in here, I think he's going to start. I put the over-under at 3.5 games. And here's the theory. You're not drafting some of these guys to be cornerstone players for your roster, right? Sometimes in rookie drafts, you've got to assess your roster and look at players who have an opportunity to spike in value this season, and for you to be able to cash out on that value, even if it's for a 24 3rd round pick, a 24 2nd round pick. And I do believe, Jay, that Stetson freaking Bennett is going to start games for the Rams this year. What? I'm very curious. Rams, the plan is clear. They want Caleb Williams. Best way to do that, once shit gets out of whack and gets nasty, you just throw Bennett in there. You don't want to hurt Matt Stafford. The elbow's messing up. The back's messing up. So I would take, in the 4th round, I would just fire a dart at Stetson Bennett. And if he ever got a spot start, I'm looking at whatever contender has Cooper Kupp, and I'm saying, here goes your quarterback for your stack for a 24 second. Give me a second, and you can have your starting quarterback for the week for the spot start with your Cooper Kupp. That's exactly how I would play it. After Stetson Bennett, Jay,
Clayton Tune? The same case for Clayton Tune. Come on, right? Arizona doesn't have a quarterback.
They don't.
You can start week 1.
They don't, but I'll take the player that the Washington Commanders said they had the 3rd round grade on. He's Brian Robinson 2.0. So Chris Rodriguez at the 4.8. Jay, where are you going?
Oh, man, this is tough. There's a couple players I want, but a lot that I don't want. That's the real problem here.
They're all dirty, so that's why we're talking.
So I would take Tune. I would take Tune in the 4th round. I think he's worth a shot. Another player I do like the situation for is Puka Nacua. Even though he was drafted really late, I do really like what we could see from Puka Nacua. There's a lot of similarities between his game and Robert Woods.
We
talked about him at the Senior Bowl because he showed up for day 1 and then he retired after that. So that kind of sucked for us. We didn't get to see more of him, but he did look great. He's got great movement skills. I think, what the Rams need is receiver help. And if he can fill that kind of Robert Woods role and fill that void they've had for a couple of years, I think that could be a great situation. And in the 4th round, it's a pretty wide open wide receiver room that I think that he could work in pretty easily. I was looking at Xavier Hutchinson as well, to Houston. We talked about how there's a lot of guys there, but we don't know who the guy is. We already had Tank Dell getting drafted, but Hutchinson as well got drafted there very late. But in a wide open wide receiver room, he could be a guy who commands targets for that team.
I love me some Puka Nacua. I've been getting him in the 4th round a lot. I think there's definitely some wide. It's Ben Skoranek and company there. I'm not worried about any of those
Jefferson
guys.
probably going to be on expiring
contracts.
Come on,
Puka.
Too.
Get it done, Puka. Damn, man. All right, Jay. Final 2 picks. Got Brenton Strange, a 2nd round tight end, still on the board. What? Come on,
what are we doing?
What are you doing, Jay? We're taking Brenton Strange right here. And then with the final pick, do you want to go Tyler Scott, a Dane Brugler special, or do you just want to?
We're taking Elijah Higgins.
We're taking Elijah Higgins.
Tight end. Tight end Elijah Higgins.
Get him off waivers.
You can get him off waivers.
Get him off waivers.
Who are you going to take? Who would be your high upside pick at the 412?
Probably Tyler Scott.
Okay. I do like that pick. It's not, that's definitely in consideration for me for sure. Yeah, you could get Higgins off waivers, but Scott is a high upside pick.
Listen, man. Trey Tucker, 3rd round pick, Jay. 100th overall. Why is nobody talking about Trey Tucker? 5'9", 187. Don't give me the size. Tyler Scott, 5'11", 185. Why is nobody talking about Trey Tucker?
Because we all know that he's not going to get on the field on that team. Like, what is he really going to do for Vegas this season? And even still, we know that he wasn't the best receiver on his own college team. And, you say that a lot about Ohio State guys, but it's very different when you're talking about Cincinnati. Like, Dane Brugler's been going to bat for Tyler Scott forever, and Trey Tucker got drafted over him. Brugler's flipping tables in the back room, in the green room at the draft. But I think there's a big disparity between what people expect of Tyler Scott this season and what we could see next season. It's a very wide open situation in Chicago, and it could be even more wide open when they get rid of Chase Claypool and they try and revamp that offense a little bit more next season with Tyler Scott and DJ Moore at the helm. Basically, are the only two guys with tight end Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I'm just giving y'all some shit with the Trey Tucker thing. It's funny because it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. He's the only receiver that got drafted that I didn't even grade. Like, I didn't even look at his film. I didn't even grade him. So Tyler Scott went undrafted. I went Xavier Hutchinson. I'm just thinking Houston, nuclear rebuild. They'll just get their rookies out there to see what they have, right? Let's get Tank out there. Let's get Hutchinson out there. Let's just see what we have in these young guys to figure out what we need to do with not having a first-round pick in 2024. So 4th round was nasty. 4th round was disgusting. Hendon Hooker, Kayshon Boutte, Dwayne McBride, Evan Hull, Deuce Vaughn were the top 5 picks. Sean Tucker, Stetson Bennett, Chris Rodriguez, Clayton Tune, Puka Nacua, Brenton Strange, and Xavier Hutchinson round out the back half. And what's funny about this one is just a couple of weeks ago, Jay, Hendon Hooker, Sean Tucker, Kayshon Boutte, you were finding at least Hooker and Tucker, you were finding top of the 2nd round. Boutte, middle of the 2nd round. Now we're here in a SUPERFLEX draft, and they're all down. A couple of players that we didn't draft, Tyler Scott from Chicago, probably just a lot of running. Maybe after Darnell Mooney's departed, Chase Claypool, Parker Washington in Jacksonville. I don't know, man. Like, I don't really want him.
He's got a high ADP. It's very strange to me. And then Zach Kuntz, right? We always got to mention Zach Kuntz, the Raz freak on the Jets. Not a this year play at all, but I would pick him up off waivers.
Look at all the tight ends undrafted that you can just get in tight end. Well, it's not tight end premium, but PPR leagues. You could take a shot on Elijah Higgins, Payne Durham, Davis Allen, high Raz score. Will Mallory. You know what I mean? Kenny McIntosh, undrafted in this one. The 2nd running back that the Seattle Seahawks took. Charlie Jones, another player that I like. You got Aiden O'Connell there. Jake Hayner in New Orleans. So, it's disgusting. After the fucking 2nd round, it's just nasty. It's just nasty.
Yeah, after the 1st round, it's like we're just throwing darts.
Patrick. Chartavius Jones, man. You got to get Charlie Jones. I have been grabbing some Charlie Jones in the 4th round, get him off waivers. So it'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out, Jay. All right. There it is. There goes 4 rounds. 4 rounds. We got through all 4 rounds.
How we would draft it.
A little bit, right? For the most part. Appreciate y'all. Joe said any Clayton Tune fans. I think there's Clayton Tune opportunists in here, Joe. 100%. I could see a world in which, who's playing quarterback for Arizona right now? Who's playing quarterback?
We don't know. We legit don't know. It's not going to be Kyler Murray, not week 1. So it's got to be somebody. Maybe it's Clayton Tune.
Somebody.
If he wins the job out of camp.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
There it is. Can he start for the Cardinals to begin the season? That'd be a wild proposition, but I'm not counting it out. Arizona, I'm not counting it out, and they probably want to have those 2 picks. They probably want to have those 2 top picks. I don't think Kyler Murray's playing, Jay. I don't think he is. Colt McCoy's banged up. Clayton Tune season, you got me wanting to pick him up off of waivers on some spots.
Do they even want to send Colt McCoy out there to get destroyed every week? Even Colt McCoy doesn't want that.
Yeah, man. All right, we got a super chat, Jay. Got a super chat. I saw it come through today. From Michael Murphy. What's up, guys? First time getting up early enough to catch you live. 10 teams, SUPERFLEX, half PPR. I'm a sneaky contender and have picked 2, 3, 4 with Bijan going 1. Who out of the top 5 do you let fall? Jay, 2, 3, and 4. Bijan's going 1. 10 team SUPERFLEX, half PPR. What are you doing? Pretty easy for me.
I would probably let Zay fall.
It's Zay in a super flex. What are you talking about?
Oh, in a super flex half PPR. Yeah. Well, would you let Stroud fall obviously in a half PPR?
Yes. I'm taking Anthony Richardson. I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs. And I'm probably taking Bryce Young. Those would be my 2, 3, 4 picks. But I would try to trade one of them. Can you not move a 3 or 4? Can you not move one of those? Take Gibbs and A. Rich and then see if you can trade back from 4 to a different spot to pick up more capital or get a player. But that's what I would do. If Bijan's going 1, that's pretty simple for me. I'm just going to go A. Rich, Gibbs, and Bryce Young, depending on the rest of your team. Yeah, that's what I would do. CJ Stroud would fall out for me. Yeah, half PPR. Now, would you take JSN over Bryce? Would you take, if you took A. Rich, would you take JSN over Bryce, half PPR, 10 team?
No, not in the half PPR, right? He just doesn't have enough value there. That's where even Gibbs has even more value, right? We talk about PPR and how, it's not even close between Jahmyr Gibbs and JSN. And so in a half PPR, that gap only gets wider for both those two players. So definitely it would be, I'm with you. I think Stroud would be the odd man out of those guys.
Yep, same. Colt McCoy. We're talking about some Colt McCoy in this group, and more Clayton Tune talk. What a way to end the week. Clayton Tune. Yuck. Ugh. But he's probably going to start. I just gave him a little want, but he may have a chance to start. But we appreciate y'all tapping in this week. Sir. Jay Rich, enjoy your week off, man. We will hold down the fort without you. I have no clue what I'll do with the people. It may be mass chaos, but we'll have some fun. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you. Well, it's interesting. So Jay Rich is out next week, so I'll be running the show solo dolo, and then the week when Jay Rich gets back, I'll be out for a week. So Jay Rich will have.
You want to talk about chaos? Me running the show for 2 weeks. Jay that will be something.
Well, for 1 week. I'm only out for a week, but appreciate y'all tapping in. Love everything that y'all do to support the show. Hit the thumbs up button, like, and subscribe, and stay tapped into everything that we're doing at DD. Y'all have a fantastic freaking week. Somebody said I missed their super chat. Where's it at?
Put it in the chat right now. Hurry up.
Put it in the chat right now. I'm going to do the countdown. I get 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 3.5.
Come on.
2. I just want to see it. Did you really put one in? If you put it in, or put it in the comments, like just say, hey, Brad, I sent in a super chat, and like it just doesn't pull up like it used to on this thing, so it's hard to see the shit. Jay Rich, you got to be
you know how Ray says, right? There's a lot of comments. There's 300 people in here. They're not even liking the content. It's ridiculous.
There's 475 comments, so it's pretty hard. I only saw 1, 2. All right, we out of here, man. Y'all have a good weekend. We out. Peace. Before y'all close off of the video, I just want to say thank you for checking out the content on Destination Devy. Really appreciate every single view that we get. And the only thing that I ask is that you hit the thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe to the channel, and if you can, comment below for the algorithm. Really helps the channel grow. Now, if you want more exclusive access to me and the entire Destination Devy team, patreon.com/allgas gives you that access. Now, if your money's a little funny, we do have free content for you. Make sure you subscribe to the All Gas newsletter. There's a link in the description of this video below, and subscribe to the Destination Devy podcast radio feed, where we got all types of shows hitting airwaves every single week. Now y'all can get out of here. I appreciate y'all tapping in. It's All Gas all the time. I love y'all. I'm out of this thing. Peace.